I just found a newspaper article talking about this guy. It's really short article, but I mean, this is a real story. This is a real guy, and the contest that he was the judge at, I think maybe he was the first kind of person they chose to be a blind judge. But I just did a quick video search to see if there were other people that did the same idea. And there's lots and lots of blind judges now. At least in America. I don't know, in Japan or other countries, I'm not sure. But anyway, let's go ahead and listen to this one more time with the script. I want to explain a few more vocabulary. But yeah, I mean, if you're interested, there's actually quite a bit of information. I mean, one of them, this is talking about him. So it just said that it's a new effort to try to emphasize personality and intelligence over like bathing suits and just physical beauty. That's their hope. So anyway, there's a little bit of information about him. All right. So anyway, let's listen one more time. And if you can, follow with the script on the I guess it's on the back page, and then we'll check a few more vocabulary as we go along. Okay. So let's start.
Unit 1. Beauty is in the mind of the beholder. Section 3. Listening. Page 4.
Beauty, like health, is often in the mind of the beholder. We say mind because something like beauty is entirely dependent on perception. And in Edmonton, Alberta, beauty pageant officials decided to acknowledge that. They asked a blind man if he'd like to be a judge for the Miss Alberta and Miss Teen Alberta competitions. It took Harold Grace a split second to decide. Inner beauty is something he is in a position to judge. He's a local fundraiser for civic projects in Edmonton, and Harold Grace says he was thrilled to be asked.
I went.
Okay, so stopping there. So we got quite a few of the vocabulary in this first paragraph. So perception, pageant, we got split second, we got what else? Thrilled. He's thrilled to be asked. So quite a few of those vocabulary just in the first paragraph. Now this is Harold. He's describing what he felt like, or what he did after he was asked. So he said, I went home, discussed it with my wife, and after I picked her up off the floor, then she said, well, you've done lots of different things in your life, Harold, why not try another one? So I agreed to do it. So after I picked her up off the floor, do you have any idea what that means? What is he talking about? I mean, if I drop my keys or something on the floor, I pick them up off the floor. Why is he picking up his wife? Any idea? Any clue? This is an expression that means she was very surprised. It kind of means that if you give someone a really, really big surprise, maybe they fall over, faint. They're so shocked. It's a big, big shock. They fall over. And then you have to pick them back up and, explain the situation. So she didn't actually fall. It's just a joke. But he's just saying, my wife was very surprised when he told her the news. So when you're listening to him explain this, the woman he's talking to, she laughs. She knows it's a joke, she knows he's just kidding, but that's what it means.
I went home and discussed it with my wife, and after I picked her up off the floor, then she said, well, you've done lots of different things in your life, Harold, why not try another one? So I agreed to do it.
What does beauty sound like? What does a fetching candidate sound like to you?
Okay, stop there. Fetching. What does beauty sound like? I mean, what does a fetching candidate sound like to you? Alright, now candidate and contestant means the same thing. Contestant would be a little more common. Candidate actually is now. Barack Obama is a candidate and Romney is a candidate. So it's a competition, it's a contest. Alright, now, but fetching. Fetching can be used as, fetch can be used as a verb, to fetch something. But it can also be used as an adjective. This is an adjective. Now, the most common way would be actually as a verb, to fetch. It kind of means to retrieve. Let's say I'm at my house and I need something from the bedroom. And I ask my son, hey, can you go to the bedroom? Can you bring it to me? Can you bring me the book? Can you bring me something? He's fetching my book. So he's going and bringing it back. You say you're fetching something. That's a verb. As an adjective, it kind of just means attractive. So beautiful, attractive, charming, you say a fetching woman, a fetching candidate. Fetching is very common when you hear maybe like on a date. Let's say maybe the boy, let's imagine a situation. The boy goes to the door, he's picking up his date, knocks on the door, the woman opens the door, she's wearing a beautiful dress. The boy says, wow, you look really fetching tonight. You look really beautiful tonight. That would be a really common kind of situation when you would hear this word. So, fetching, for a quick definition, would be for adjective. There we go. So for adjective, fascinating, charming, or attractive. So this is this one, attractive. So what does an attractive candidate sound like? You can't see them, so what do they sound like? And then he mentions a lot of different things he listens for, a lot of different things that he thinks about when he's deciding good looking or not good, well, beautiful or not beautiful. I guess he can't see them. So he mentions the voice, maybe laughing, where they're speaking. Are they speaking to him or are they speaking away from him? Also the way they walk, handshake. He mentions lots of different things. And then the woman says, you have a catalog of stuff. Catalog just means a long list. A long list of things. Most of the time, people think about catalogs for like shopping. They go to a department store, they go to they're shopping for something, they have a big list of products. But this is just a list, some kind of list. Long list. Let's say you're going to go on a week vacation, and your friend asks you, what are you going to take? And you start listing everything. You're like, I'm going to take 3 pairs of shoes and 2 socks and 4 books and my camera and my, you have a long list of things. It was like, wow, you're taking a catalog of stuff. A list of stuff, a lot of stuff. It would kind of mean the same thing. So let's go ahead, let's continue. Listen to his list. All the things he thinks about when he's choosing.
You can tell a softness of a voice just in terms of if someone's laughing. Like my wife's quite a bubbly individual, just to give you an example, and you listen to that in the people's different voices. You also listen to where the direction of their voice is coming from, so that if I'm asking them a question, you can judge if they're facing you or if they're kind of looking around, really bored with really answering your question. When the contestants came in from a tile floor to a rug floor, you kind of can listen to their footsteps, if they're heavy or light. Also, you can tell from a handshake, if they have a firm handshake. Most people with firm handshakes have a reasonable amount of confidence. If they've got kind of like a wimpy handshake, either they're nervous or just wimps.
Wow, you've got a catalog of stuff. You lost your sight just 15 years ago. How old are you?
51.
So has your definition of beauty changed since the days when you had vision?
Yes, I would say that it's probably changed, probably somewhat before that, because as you get older, other things about personalities and people are much more important than the physical element than when I was a teenager, your early 20s, before you're married, and all those kind of things.
What did your wife think of your selection?
Oh, she said if I had selected anybody else, she would have killed me.
Alright, let's quick ask a question there. So what did your wife think of your selection? Well, she said if I had selected anybody else, she would have killed me. Alright, so did she like his selection or she disliked his selection? Like?
Right?
Yeah. Basically, she's saying, if you had selected another choice, I would have been angry. That means you selected the right choice. Your choice I agree with, But if you had selected a different person, I would have been angry, I would have killed you. Now, I don't know if Japanese have the same kind of situation, but in English, a lot, especially American English, if you are angry with someone, very common, especially children, they say, I'm going to kill you, I'll kill you. You know, or maybe a wife says to a husband, if you ever have a mistress, if you ever cheat on me, I'll kill you. Maybe sometimes they're serious, they will kill them. But most of the time it's just, I'll be angry, it's a threat, you know, that kind of thing. Do you have something like that in Japanese? Do people say this? I want to be like, korosu? Or like, I had a keychain a while ago. It was a really funny keychain. And it was a really cute little pink bunny. And then under the thing it said, bu korosu. And it was like, I thought it was quite funny. But I don't know, do kids say this to each other? Like if they get angry or something, do they say, I'll kill you? Or is it not so common? Sometimes? Not so much. Okay, well, in English though, it's quite common. So in this part, he's completely joking. She wouldn't really be angry with him. And so again, you hear the interviewer, she kind of laughs. She thinks it's a joke again. So not really serious.
But he actually killed me.
Let me ask you, what is your definition of beauty?
Well, I think my definition of beauty is someone who's reasonably outgoing, full of fun, laughter, just someone who shows caring and true sensitivity.
Well, we think that you have evinced a lot of all of that, and we really thank you for being here with us today.
Well, thanks for having me.
Harold Grace, he was a judge in this year's Miss Alberta and Miss Teen Alberta beauty pageants. He spoke to us from the Edmonton studios of the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation.
Okay, so the last part, his definition of beauty, he says someone who's reasonably outgoing, sociable, full of fun, laughter, caring, true sensitivity. That's what he's looking for. But the woman says, actually, you have evinced all of that. So she says, you look for that in other people, but she says, I think you have that characteristic as well. So you have evinced, you have displayed, you have demonstrated those qualities as well. And, you know, because he's kind of joking, he's kind of lighthearted and things like that too. Alright, so anyway, let's go ahead and finish with this. I'll put this on the website if you want to listen one more time or more. Right now though, let's go ahead and try the dictation test. So, here we go. Alright, before we do though, I want to do actually just a couple quick practices just from me, from my voice. So if you can maybe, I don't know, in an open space, or if you can turn over the page, I want to just give you a couple sentences, and I want you to see if you can just write them out exactly as you hear them. And then compare with a partner. Okay, so we're not going to start with the listening first. I want to actually do something, quick warm-up before that. So, are you ready? Okay, so just listen. I'm just going to say one sentence, give you a couple seconds to write it down. Okay, first sentence. What are you going to do next weekend?
This last one?
Can you write it down? No. One more time. What are you going to do next weekend? One more time. This is not part of the test. The test will come second. This is separate. This is different. Number two, so again, one more time. This is not part of the test. So I think maybe you guys are missing what you're saying. Don't write on the side. Write on the side, or write a new piece of paper or something else. This is separate. Okay. Number two, anywhere you have free space. Number two, have you been to New York in the spring? will you have finished your homework by next Friday? Four. Can you recommend a good dentist for me? Five. War and Peace is the best book I've ever read. Okay, so stop there. Compare with your partner, just these first 5 quick sentences. So I used a couple different verb forms. I used present perfect, I used future perfect, I used a few other kind of examples. Compare with the partner, see if you got the same details, the same words, and then we'll quickly check afterwards. So I guess, Keigo, can you and Sachiko work together on the side? And then Kali, sorry, maybe missed the first one, but if you can check together detail. Okay, so Leo Tolstoy. War and Peace is the best book I've ever read.
War and Peace.
Is the best book I've ever read. Have any of you? Have you ever read War and Peace?
No.
Okay. Is it the best book you've ever read?
Yeah.
No. Actually, me too. It's not for me either. I think it's interesting, but it's too long, too many characters. But yeah, that's good. Alright, so, but I mean, you know. Alright, well let's try the actual practice. So the practice is actually conversation. So you're not just looking at phrases, you're looking at the conversation itself. You have 1 minute to kind of look over the paper, look at the places that have written space, and then it'll take about maybe 10 minutes, possibly, to do the actual test. So first part, they're just going to explain the instructions, and then the second part, you'll have a little bit of time to look through it.
Spring 97. Directions. You'll hear a conversation 2 times. The first time, just listen. Do not write anything down. The second time, there will be pauses. Write exactly what you hear. When you hear this sound, the conversation will continue. You now have 1 minute to look at your test paper. Now, listen. Situation. 2 friends are discussing their summer travel plans.
I wonder where I should go this summer.
Do you mean in Japan?
No, actually I'm thinking about going abroad.
Have you been to Europe before?
No, I've been to Hawaii, but I really haven't traveled very much.
I think you should go to Europe.
Yes, that's a possibility, even though I'm not sure I have enough money.
You could stay in a B&B. They're usually quite reasonable.
What is a B&B?
It means bed and breakfast. Most are pretty spacious houses with several rooms. They are usually family businesses.
What kind of breakfast do they serve?
Most of them have eggs, ham or sausages, toast, or some kind of bread with jam, juice, milk, coffee or tea, and maybe a sweet roll.
Wow, that's more than I usually eat for breakfast.
I'm sure you'll have enough, and some B&Bs have even more.
Really? What's the most interesting one you have stayed in?
That has to be the one in the Orkneys.
The Orkneys?
They are a group of islands north of Scotland. When I first entered the house, I noticed the red velvet walls.
Sounds pretty colorful.
I'll say, but my room was nicely decorated, although it was too formal for me.
Formal?
It had matching beige curtains and pillowcases.
Sounds okay.
And each morning, breakfast was so special.
What do you mean?
There were a complete selection of jams and breads and a choice of fish, ham, or sausages.
Wow, it sounds fantastic.
Everything tasted wonderful. The most interesting thing was the orange juice.
Why? What was special about it?
Of course it was fresh squeezed, but also in a simple glass of juice, the hostess had put a long stem maraschino cherry.
For breakfast? Impressive. I would like to stay in a place like that. Maybe I will go to Europe.
Now listen there.
I wonder where I should go this summer.
Do you mean in Japan?
No, actually, I'm thinking about going abroad.
Have you been to Europe before?
No, I've been to Hawaii, but I really haven't traveled very much.
I think you should go to Europe.
Yes, that's a possibility, even though I'm not sure I have enough money.
You could stay in a B&B. They're usually quite reasonable.
What is a B&B?
It means bed and breakfast. Most are pretty spacious houses with several rooms. They are usually family businesses.
What kind of breakfast do they serve?
Most of them have eggs, ham or sausages, toast or some kind of bread with jam, juice, milk, coffee or tea, and maybe a sweet roll.
Wow, that's more than I usually eat for breakfast.
I'm sure you'll have enough, and some B&Bs have even more.
Really? What's the most interesting one you have stayed in?
That has to be the one in the Orkneys.
The Orkneys?
They are a group of islands north of Scotland. When I first entered the house, I noticed the red velvet walls.
Sounds pretty colorful.
I'll say, but my room was nicer decorated, although it was too formal for me.
Formal?
It had matching beige curtains and pillowcases.
Sounds okay.
And each morning, breakfast was so special.
What do you mean?
There were a complete selection of jams and breads and a choice of fish, ham, or sausages.
Wow, it sounds fantastic.
Everything tasted wonderful. The most interesting thing was the orange juice.
Why? What was special about it?
Of course, it was fresh squeezed, but also in a simple glass of juice, the hostess had put a long-stem maraschino cherry.
For breakfast? Impressive. I would like to stay in a place like that. Maybe I will go to Europe.
This is the end of the test.
This is the end of the test. Okay. So, dictation is not the easiest type of listening activity, but maybe it's useful. I hope so. Anyway, maybe. So, just for a couple of minutes, I'd like you to check and see how many answers you have similar to your partner, what kind of areas. But I mean, maybe don't make any changes because you want to check your real answers against the script. But just compare briefly, just a little bit, and then see how you did. So yeah, same partners as before. One more time, just to see how well you're looking at.
Let's see.
Okay, so let's go ahead. Let's check and see if you're getting something pretty similar or not. The first one should be, have you been to Europe before? Have you been to Europe before? Number two, but I really haven't traveled very much. But I really haven't traveled very much. Number three, I'm not sure I have enough money. I'm not sure I have enough money. Number four, most are pretty spacious houses with several rooms. Most are pretty spacious. That's just spacious. Spacious just means pretty big size. Let me see if I can make it a bit bigger. Spacious. So spacious just means space, big space. So you say it's spacious. So it's too slow. All right, spacious. You spell spacious. S-P-A-C-I-O-U-S. Yeah, spacious. Yeah. So most are pretty spacious houses. Houses with several rooms.
Most are pretty spacious houses
with several rooms.
rooms.
With several rooms.
Most are. Most are.
B 動詞のあ、
はい。
most are
Pretty
Pretty
spacious.
spacious houses.
pretty っていうの PR
Yeah. So is that bigger? Better?
spacious
Not bad.
Spacious.
So most are pretty spacious houses with several rooms. Next one. Do that. Next one should be fine. That's more than I usually eat for breakfast.
That's more.
then
Than I usually eat for breakfast.
I usually eat for.
Yeah, eat for breakfast. Number 6. What's the most interesting one you have stayed in? What's the most interesting one you've stayed in?
in
Yeah, stayed in. 7. When I first entered the house.
enter
Entered.
entered
Yeah, when I first entered the house.
the house.
Yeah. Alright, next one should be, although it was too formal for me. Although it was too formal for me. Okay, so number 8, although it was too formal for me. Number 9, it had matching beige curtains and pillowcases. Beige, yeah. So beige is just kind of like a very, very light brown kind of color. So it had matching beige curtains. Matching just means the color is kind of the same color. You can do the same thing with like fashion. If you have like a matching hat and shirt, it's kind of the same fashion or the same color. So matching beige curtains and pillowcases. And 10, each morning breakfast was so special. And each morning breakfast was so special. What do you mean?
What do you mean?
That was easy. 12, everything tasted wonderful.
Everything tastes.
Everything tasted.
Tasted.
Yeah, everything tasted wonderful. Yeah, pretty much everything should be in the past tense. Because he's describing a particular journey, a particular trip in the past, so it should all be in the past tense. The most interesting thing was the orange juice. Do you know maraschino cherry? What's a maraschino cherry? Maraschino cherry is often put on top of a dessert. It's just a red cherry with a stem, and then maybe you put it on top of ice cream or you put it on top of some dessert. It's kind of like they soak it in something. It's not like a fresh cherry. It's like a canned type of cherry. And so they put it inside the orange juice. He really liked it. And then finally, last one. I would like to stay in a place like that. I would like to stay in a place like that. Okay, now, remember, you don't have to have a perfect score. You're only asking for around 70%. For this length of test, usually you can make around 15 mistakes. 15 or 16 mistakes usually is permissible. So anyway, so Thursday we'll have the same kind of situation. It's the same length. It's about the same difficulty. It's just a different conversation. So that's it. Okay, so actually, my timing was a little off.
Can
So
I
here-
write down the spelling with the need for?
It doesn't really, spelling for the test is not really very important. It doesn't really matter. As long as I can read it, then it's okay. The most important thing is to make sure you're putting the words in the proper order and that you're not forgetting the grammar points. So the prepositions, You're not forgetting which tense, so past tense, present tense, things like that. So just word order, correct tense. That's what you're really going for. But yeah, spelling doesn't matter. And good handwriting doesn't matter. If I can read it, it's fine. And I can read a lot of bad handwriting. So basically it's okay. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, we ran out of time. I'm sorry. I thought we might have some time to work on our textbook, but we'll have to do this next time. So on Thursday's class, do you want to do maybe a normal kind of warm-up class, the first hour, and then do the dictation second? Maybe start thinking in English? Or do you want to do the dictation first, when you're fresh? I don't know. Does it matter? Do you care? Don't care? Okay, so I'll surprise you. So, all right. Well, anyway, have a nice night. Don't worry about the test. It's better just to relax because this kind of listening test you can't study for. You can practice this kind of listening at home. You can listen to a sentence, pause, write it down. You can practice, but you can't study so easily for this kind of test. So just relax. Get some good sleep, relax, drink your coffee, have a piece of chocolate, and that's it. That's good. So, all right, so thank you very much.
Thank you so much.